some of the foundational nodes available in Visual Studio. As you know, a node will allow you to do a specific task. Uh, some of us call it agent. A node is an agent. It can also be much more than an agent. Fundamentally, there are five, six categories of foundational nodes, or we call it core nodes. If you are a programmer or a software engineer, you will know foundational uh, logic in source code, right? If conditions, while loops, switch conditions. Those are very foundational components in any programming, and those are the components that would allow you to achieve very complex business and technical logic in software. So the same thing is required in our system as well, right? So if you look at a flow chart has to split, merge, go in branches. It has to do a lot of things, and uh, these foundational, some of the foundational components. For example, in this one, control flow will allow you to achieve some of this. And if condition, for example, it will allow you to evaluate if something is in true or false, and based on that, it will route uh, information to a different branch. For example, a customer puts a order, and an if condition will check is the payment done. If payment is not done, it will go to payment screen. If payment is done, it will go to a different screen. So that's a very foundational if condition. In a programming language, it's much microscopic in nature, but here it's slightly above that. However, fundamentally, this will allow you to switch from one place to another, uh, evaluate a condition, and make a decision. Right now, we support multiple languages. JavaScript, by default, JavaScript. We support C Sharp and VB.NET. We support Python. These are the three conditions languages we support. If you are familiar with any of those things, you are good to go. Remember, JavaScript supports basic components. If you want highly advanced features, your way is to use C Sharp, because it can actually accomplish a lot more than you would normally see in languages like JavaScript. Anyway, switch is another thing. Switch will allow you to split. If condition will allow you to split in two ways, right? Yes or no. But switch will allow you to go multiple ways, right? You can say A is what is a city, or what is the state of a customer. And if it is Texas, it goes one way or one workflow. If it is New York, it goes in another. A loop is very similar, but the loop will keep on spinning until it exits. For example, let's say I find 100 customers, and I want to loop through these 100 customers and emails to these 100 customers. The loop will help you do that. The break is a very similar system with the loop. In the middle of fourth customer, while you're looping through the customers, that when you reach 10th customer, you decide, hey, I don't want to continue anymore. I want to break and leave. Right? That's the break. You exit, right? Exit the closing loop immediately, jumping to loops done output part, right? A loop has got two outputs. One is a done, completed, and the other one is a it's called body or results or whatever you call it. But looping, right? Looping is one output, and exit is another. Continue is skips the rest of the loop iteration and runs to the next item in the collection, right? So, so continue and break are different in nature. Anyway, parallel fork and parallel join, and these are different things. A fork will split into two branches, right? Two lines. We call it a line, execution line. If condition also splits into two line, but the execution will continue in one line only. Means If condition is true, it will go one direction. If condition is false, it will go other direction. But parallel fork will go in both the directions, right? And we have a concept called batching of parallel fork. That means you can actually fork into five branches and wait for the five branches to complete to start another five branches and split into 10 lines, right? So those are optimization, but the parallel fork will allow you to split multiple lines. Parallel join will merge those things and take them together. So those are the control flow. I'm going to give you a demo very soon on this. That way confusion is lesser. Now, try block, catch block, and finally block. This is used only for error handling and cleanup, things like this. Most of the times you don't need to do it. You don't need to use it. You need to use it if you are building your own custom nodes and you execute your own custom nodes with us. Then you need to use this. Otherwise, it's not generally needed. But there are scenarios you will need this, right? The other one is data transformation logic. These are also very fundamentals in nature. So variable assignment, what it does is it's a node that will let you assign data into variables, right? It reads data from the downstream nodes and whichever node it is and assign into a variable. Data mapping is very simple. You have input data in one format. One after this node, your data will be in a different format. Collection operation is basically you are applying operations on data, summarization of the data, sorting of the data, distinctive data, distinct data, first, last. So this will be highly useful for data science related projects. JSON transform is basically parsing and stringifying and minifying, merging two objects and things like that. And code execute is basically you can execute code, JavaScript code, and get output, right? So basically, any data that you have, whichever way you want to convert that data, that transformation, we have several components available, nodes available. And it's so easy. Once you understand this concept, it's so easy to do this because all you need to do is drag and throw, right? Now, workflow management is basically another one. Basically, what you do is you can create a sub workflow and add as a node. You can add a delay or wait, and you can also stop workflow. Right? These are items that would help you create workflows better. Now you have HTTP nodes. They are not foundational. This is foundational too. Webhook trigger. Basically, what you do is you are creating a webhook, a trigger from an external system. So an external system can trigger our workflow, right? A Facebook message can trigger our workflow. Manual trigger is you go manually trigger it. Schedule trigger is you schedule how the workflow should be triggered. Form trigger is you basically open up a form and enter some data, click on submit button, it will trigger the workflow. Chat trigger is very simple. You open a Slack, WhatsApp, or wherever it is, you start chatting and chat will trigger the workflow. Those are the trigger workflows. So we covered three types of workflows, and there are more three types of nodes, and there are several other nodes available. I will go through that later. Human in the loop are approval, chat, and form. Basically, in the middle of a workflow, you want to show user with a form or a chat or an approval. You use this. Now, let's see how to engage this. There are so many other nodes, but I have not documented most of it. You have a lot of things here, and if you want to learn more about it, first thing to do is you have to click on, let's say, manual trigger. Click on it and understand when to use, how to use. All documentations are available. So this is the theory part. I want to give you a very quick demo so that you will know how it works. So you open up the Flow Studio, click on trigger, and you find the trigger manual, and you add the trigger here. Right now you have manual trigger node came here, and that's all you need to do. You got the trigger. When you click on execute, the workflow will automatically be triggered. You don't have to do anything. Just draw here. That's get the thing started. Ideally, I want to call this. I basically take this guy and I call it start manually. Start. That's it. It's as simple as that. Anyway, then the next thing that we want to do, let's say we want to send a email to 100 people, right? But where do you get the email from? You add an HTTP request, right? And you right click here in configure and you add the URL from which you can download users from. For example, this is an example URL. You can download users from here. So just save it and you add item here, right? And what you do here is you say if condition, and in the if condition, you add, if it is successful, it will come here. If it's error, you don't have to do anything. It will just send a error email, right? You put an email here saying that, hey, there was an error, and send an email, right? That's, you don't need to worry about it. Now you add a condition here, then you click on config condition and you can add your condition expression. For example, input amount. In this case, you say length is greater than 10, right? Something similar to that. The items dot length is greater than 10. You also have to choose the language. There is a way to choose the language, which is pretty easy. I will explain in a different video. Now what you do is, yes, the if condition works. What if is true, the length is greater than 5? What do I want to do? So I want to send an email to somebody. So I put an SMS, send an email message here from true. I send an email saying that, hey, there are too many. I say there are too many records found, because if the count of records 2 records found, please watch out, please watch out. So I put that information there and I come back here, and if it's true, I don't want to send an email. If it's false, I don't want to send an email. I just pick up, let's say, if condition. I want to loop through the messages, right? So I say loop, put a loop, and I call this guy. So it accepts the array, that it's an array of data records. It's not a single record. That's why it's called array. Comes here, the loop will handle it. Now, as you can see, the workflow keep on growing, right? So I'm going to position it here, and I'm going to minimize this so that it's not, I can actually hide it, but let me collapse it. So then you go to the loop, and in the loop, what you do is, remember, there are two types of loops. One is a performance friendly loop, one is not so performance friendly loop. In the loop, I want to send an email to send email. So I call email. There are many emails, or SMTP email. I take SMTP email here again, and I add here from the results to main. Now, what this loop does is, for let's say there are 10 customers found, it will loop through this and add 10 customers into it, right? That's what it does. So this will help you create looping logic into this and send emails. At the end of it, you will see, I don't see it here, but I think I picked up the wrong loop. When you take a loop, you will see a completed node here. So you add another, let's say, Elasticsearch or a MySQL SQL. You add a SQL Server node here and say, hey, it's completed. It will go to a different port, okay, not a results port. Say it's completed, save to the database as success, right? So basically, if you really look at it, we pick up emails from email addresses of customers, loop through it, and set up the systems here, and it will automatically run. You run it every day. if you want to run it every day, instead of manual trigger, you get the scheduled trigger, right? This is a very fundamental idea of how to get workflow setup. Now, remember, the core, there are so many nodes at the core level. So what you actually do is you can choose by trigger. These are the triggers available. Then you can choose by logic, right? These are the mapping logic available. Or you can choose by transformation, right? All the data transformation that you want to do. See, ultimately, when you see data, you have to transform the data, parse the data, operate on the data, send the data to somewhere. A lot of uh, uh, operations need to be done during this. What I've drawn here is a very simple workflow. In ideally, this workflow is going to be much complex, right? It's not going to be a very simple workflow most of the time, because we are building enterprise products. This is built for enterprise products, so you will see a much sophisticated workflow. Just to give an example of how a workflow would be, can get complicated, right? But if you really understand the whole system, you are only building one block at a time. If you understand a block, you are done with this, right? For example, SMTP email. If you go here and configure it, you don't know how to configure this. There is a help document. Click on the help, and it will tell you how to configure this. For example, there is a way to set up your Gmail account here. All you need to put your Gmail address here. The you ask Gmail, go to Gmail, take your addresses and put it here, and authenticate. You are good to go. You can send email from your regular email. It will take 5 minutes to set this up, right? It will take, once you set this up, it will take probably 1 minute to set this up. It will take first to set up. You might need a SQL server or an access to a server. Once you have the access, you can set it up in no time. Anyway, I just wanted to provide you with an idea, overall idea about this, and complex nodes. For example, let me take a AI node, right? Agent node, AI agent. I'm transformation. That's why I need to all categories. I take agent. I bring agent here, and I I take agent. Click on configure, right? And I can configure the agent. I save it. Then I click on configure. Okay, SQL Server is not registered, so we didn't install SQL Server. So that's why I'm going to delete SQL Server. Okay, now as you can see, yeah, a no AI agent, you open it and make lot of changes. I mean, if you go here AI agent, you will see we can create an AI agent. You see the amount of configuration options we have in the AI agent, right? A lot of things about the agent can be changed here. This is a new field, that's why you don't see all the details. But AI agent can have so much details, that scopes, capabilities, policies, users, roles, profiles, hooks. There's so much configuration you can do only about the AI agent alone, right? Now, other things that you will be surprised about when you deal with the BizFirst AI product. If I just go up and bring AI agent into this picture, as you can see, memory LLM sub-agents and inherited agents, input, tools, base agents, sub-agents, output, they're a little bit confusing. So what I typically do is ask people to hide all the complications, make it very simple. So 90% of the use cases, 99% of the use cases that we are dealing with are simple AI agents. It does not need a lot. It needs a RAG system, it needs an MCP system. It's done. However, the world is progressing. It needs complex AI agents, right? Multi-modal AI agents. So what you do here is you create an agent here, you create another agent here, then you create another agent here and call whatever you want, but you establish relationship between them. For that, you need to show satellites. That means this agent can have a complex relationship with other agents, right? And for example, this agent can be extended from